Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter. When the Lord Yahweh thy God hath cut off the nations, whose land the Lord thy God giveth thee, and thou succeedest them, so you take over, and dwellest in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt separate three cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. Those would be the sanctuary cities. So you're going to separate them, as in you're going to select three cities that will be designated as sanctuary cities. Thou shalt prepare thee a way and divide the coast of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to inherit, into three parts, that every slayer may flee thither. So they're going to be of your land, three parts, measured, so to where each part would have one of those sanctuary cities. So it's not gonna be three sanctuary cities in one bunched up location. It says here that every slayer may flee. That's one that slays or kills somebody else. And this is more so the case for this, as the Lord is going to go into, is dealing with, or as Moses is going to go into, which is really the words of the Lord anyway, is when it's accidental. Okay. It says, and this is the case of the slayer, which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hateth not in time past. So this was accidentally, it wasn't intentional, and you didn't have any hate towards them. There was no tension, no beef, no what's the word I'm looking for here? No, it's not intent, but it's like a reason, like a cause or a reason for you to have done this to them. As when a man goeth into the wood, and his neighbor is, this is an example here, and his neighbor with his neighbor to hew wood, so they go to chop some wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree. So he's basically swinging the axe to chop the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, so the metal part, the heavy part, or the head of the axe slides off, right, or flies off of the actual handle, and lighteth upon his neighbor. That means it hits him, that he die. He shall flee onto one of those cities and live. So it was an accident, right? He was swinging to try and chop the wood or the tree, and then the handle or the metal part or the hard part of the axe flew off and hit somebody else in the head and killed them. That was an accident. So he would be able to flee to one of these sanctuary cities, so that, for the sake of, verse 6, lest the avenger of blood pursue the slayer. The avenger of blood is the relative of the deceased, who wants revenge. So he pursued the slayer while his heart is hot, so he's enraged, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him. So this is why the Lord said, measure the land and place the sanctuary cities appropriately in different parts. Because if somebody's all the way up north and the sanctuary city is like 3, 4, 5 tribes down south, this happens and he's trying to flee, but the avenger, okay, is so enraged that he chases the person and pursues after him. If the path is so long or so far, the avenger can easily catch up. That's what it means by overtake him, and then kill the guy before the guy can even make it to the sanctuary city. So to avoid a case like that, you have to strategically place them. As it says, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in the past time. So it was an accident, but he would still be killed because he wasn't able to make it to the sanctuary city in time. Wherefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And if the Lord thy God enlarge thy coasts, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he promised to give unto thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all these commandments to do them, which I command thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, and to walk ever in his ways, then shalt thou add 3 cities more for thee beside these 3. So you got these 3. If the Lord expands your he expands your land, your coast, and all that, you add 3 more. that innocent blood be not shed in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and so blood be upon thee. So this is to avoid cases where one that is not worthy of death is then put to death. But if any man hate his neighbor and lie in wait for him, so he's plotting on him, and rise up against him and smite him mortally, right? It's a mortal wound, a deadly wound, that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities. So you actually commit murder, and then you run away to one of these cities. Then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him. So if it's known, they're like, yeah, we know there's evidence. This guy he's had it out for such and such, you know, and just based on the way he's moving, this doesn't seem like an accident. He plotted this. Once they find that out, the elders of the city where this guy fled from would send messengers and folks to go over to that sanctuary city and fetch him. They're gonna grab his ass up and bring him back and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood that he may die. So they're gonna bring his ass back and give him into the hand um, of the avenger, the one that wants revenge for the slaying of his deceased, and he's going to put the other guy to death. Thine eye shall not pity him that is the murderer, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. Right, by delivering the murderer into the hand of the avenger, so he can take him out. Verse 14. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. So the landmark, the boundaries for, okay, the borders, this tribe, this tribe's land is here and here and here. You're not supposed to move that, right? NLT says, when you arrive in the land the Lord your God has given you as your special possession, you must never steal anyone's land by moving the boundary markers your ancestors set up to mark their property, because then you're going to start to, corrupt or mar the inheritance of the tribes. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established. So if you only have one witness, that's not enough to be able to, establish that case. Or you need at least two or three witnesses. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him, that which is wrong. So he tells a lie. Oh yeah, I did see him do this, but that's not true. Then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. So they're going to take them before the priests, and the judges shall make a diligent inquisition, kind of like what Daniel did in the book of Susanna with the two elders. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him, that is the witness, or the false witness, as he thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. So if this guy is bearing false witness against his brother, and let's say the person on trial got convicted, they would be put to death, or they would have some penalty where they have to pay, or they would be beaten. If they find out that this guy is a false witness, the penalty or whatever judgment would have happened onto that man on trial would actually happen onto the false witness. Verse 20. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. Now, if the false witness got put to death, people will hear that. And if they're ever asked to be a false witness, they're going to think twice and be like, nah, dog, nah, the last person that did it, they got put to death. So I'm all right. Verse 21. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So if the penalty was life, the false witness gets life. If they was to lose an eye, and what this is to symbolize is like equal. Okay, it's not. There's no partiality. And well, the guy if he got convicted, he would have been or if he was found guilty, we were to charge him 50 shekels, but you're a false witness, we'll charge you 40 shekels. No. Whatever would have happened to him will happen to this guy, this false witness. And that brings us to the end of the book of Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.